Amigos, amigas, bienvenidos a Lima, Peru. Welcome once again to my house here in Lima, Peru. Today we are going to discuss another history chapter of Lima, and we're going also to talk about one of the most famous cases of haunted buildings in Lima, Hotel Bolivar. By the way, as always, in the beginning, I'd like to thank, first of all, my Patreons. Patreon is a platform that helps content creators to create events, like, for example, the ones I'm conducting here in Lima with the support of let's say subscribers who want to give a donation, a monthly donation. My Patreon has different options starting from $2 per month. And when people join Patreon, my Patreon in particular, they not just help me to create events, they also are active participants of the creation of these upcoming events. So please, if you want to help me creating content, please become a Patreon. All the information is in the description of this video. Also, you can support with a donation on PayPal. And at the end of this event, I'll tell you what you will be given in return for your PayPal donation. Any amount is welcome. And well, Hotel Bolivar is definitely one of the jewels of the city. Now we're going to talk about the origins of this hotel. One of the elements that was considered to be very curious in the time of the inauguration of the hotel was that the original name of the hotel was supposed to be Ayacucho. And that is because the hotel was created for remembrance of a very important battle we had against the Spanish. For, like sealing, like finishing the process of the independence of Peru. So the name Ayacucho means corner of death. The name sound good, it makes sense, but later someone very smart recommended not to name the hotel Ayacucho because the meaning of the word in Quechua, translated into Spanish and English, Rincón de los Muertos, or corner of the dead. This is one of the oldest pictures we have of the Hotel Bolivar. I'll tell you in a moment why it is named Bolivar. Bolivar Hotel was designed to be the new or the Peruvian version of the Ritz. And it was supposed to be the most elegant, the most sophisticated hotel of not just Lima, of the whole country. This is how nowadays the hotel looks like. So you can see some consistent differences between the original version of the hotel from the year 1924, that is the year when it was inaugurated, and the nowadays version. So first of all, let's take a look on the dimensions. The building is as big as it used to be original in this side, but on the other side, it has gained space. But this corner, you can see clearly that there are 3 storage. And let's give a look to this other one. Can you see the difference, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's even a 6th floor here, but that we don't see from this angle. The hotel was open to commemorate, of course, the Battle of Ayacucho. The monumentality of the hotel was such that, in the days, this hotel was considered to be the beginning of the trend to convert Lima city into a French style city. So we were sort of like crazy about everything related with France, related with Paris. We brought the fashion, we brought the architecture, the food also. Lima. The architect was Rafael Marquina, one of the greatest architects of that time. The Battle of Ayacucho happened on 1824. So this is another picture of the hotel right after its inauguration. You can see it just has 3 floors, 3 storage. And inside was even more luxurious. I was able to find some good quality pictures to show you from the inside, but we have lots to discuss also about the hotel. There were about 600 workers employed to work 24 hours a day to finish this building in just 6 months. They were running against the clock. The celebrations of the independence, the centennial of the independence of Peru, were grandiose. And President Leguía, he invested a lot of money. He wasted a lot of money also in constructions. Well, now the hotel has about 250 rooms, but only 100 are in use. Okay, and here you can see a little bit of the process of construction of the building. Notice Lima back in those days. Lima was very short in the 1920s. Lima had no skyscrapers. Lima's highest buildings were the towers of churches. They were the only high buildings, and that is because in the colonial times there was a belief that nobody should build taller than a church, because that meant that you felt you were more powerful than God, and everything had to be luxurious. And all of the furnishing that we have inside the building nowadays was made in Europe. In the house Waring and Gillow of London. The most lavish parties of Lima were hosted here. Presidents visited this hotel first. They went to this hotel first. You know, even the pageants, the beauty pageants happened to be here. So this was the best hotel of the city. Now you know a bit of how the hotel looks outside, looks inside. So now we're going to revise the history of the hotel. Before the coming of the conquistadors, unfortunately, we don't have clear information of any pre-Hispanic temple located there. And I always mention this because there is a lot of energy attached to pre-Hispanic temples. Many of them were also used as burial sites. We know of human sacrifices associated with pre-Hispanic temples, but we don't have any information of pre-Hispanic buildings in this site. So our story will begin with the Spanish presence, the creation of Lima as the capital of the Spanish territories that were called the Viceroyalty of Peru. And in the exact location where nowadays is the hotel, we used to have a hospital connected to a church. Probably you know already that in the old times, in the medieval times, and here in the colonial era, they were not hospitals as how we know them nowadays, right? They were hospitals that were always associated with churches, because the people who took care of the sick, the disease, the people who were in bad, health conditions were priests. So churches and hospitals were side by side, were connected. So we had the Church of San Juan de Dios and also the Hospital of San Juan de Dios right next. People were not really going to hospitals to be cured. And that sounds very strange, but that's the way how it used to be. People used to go to hospitals to die in peace, because many of the diseases that people had were not curable for those days. So the idea was dying in the presence of God. So this infirmary had, so far we know, a large room with 36 beds. And there was also another section, another separate room for the priests that had 13 beds. So in this location where nowadays we have the hotel, so look at the building over here. This is the Bolivar Hotel. You can see very close to the hotel this section over here. This is Colón Theater, one of the most important theaters we had in Lima back in the beginnings of the 20th century. So in this location, very close to the hotel, we had one of the most famous murders of the history of Lima, the murder of a very important person associated and connected to the independence process, Bernardo Monteagudo. So Monteagudo is known as one of the most nefastest characters of our history, although he's associated with the independence, but he was not loved by people, by the Peruvians. He was Argentinian, by the way. So he came with San Martin, and then, well, his behavior was not really well received. He's known also to be very infamous, taking money from the Spanish who were residents of Lima. Like, he confiscated money. He was hated by everybody, and he was also a womanizer. He liked to be with women who were married. So he had a lot of enemies. He left Peru. He fled Peru in an exile. I think it was more like a self-imposed exile, because when San Martin left, he was pretty much alone. So he knew he had too many enemies. He left Peru. He went to Central America, and then he came back to Peru with Bolivar. Well, Bolivar, let's say, chose him as a sort of like a supporter, helper, advisor. But he had already too many enemies here. So finally he was killed in that location where nowadays is the hotel. It's very, very close to the hotel. He was stabbed by a man. There was another man associated with the crime. The crime remains unsolved, by the way, because although the criminal, the person who said he was the one who stabbed him, like, seems that he was more like persuaded to accept the guilt, commuting, the death pain to prison. But at the end, he was killed inside the prison. No? So we will never know who was the actual killer of this man. So this murder not just happened there, very close to the hotel. Also, we know that the body of Monteagudo was buried in secret in the exact location where the hotel is nowadays. So this is a picture of the location of the nowadays hotel. So the hotel will be pretty much here in this section. And where you see this building is where we have the nowadays Plaza San Martin. That used to be the train station of Lima. If we use an image from Lima in the colonial times with the walls, we can also see the location, how it used to be, how it is nowadays. So we have, for example, let's use this mark. We have Plaza Mayor, main square here, right? And this is main square. By the way, you see this image upside down because in the old days, the way how Lima was portrayed was upside down to how nowadays we portray it, right? So I had to invert the image. So we have here Plaza Mayor, main square. The fountain of the main square is here. And we can see also from Plaza Mayor, we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 6 is Plaza San Martin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 6 is where Plaza San Martin is nowadays. And right in front we have the hotel, we have the plaza, we have everything here. So this is the site, the hot site that we are also talking about. And well, here we have the old train station. We know, everybody knows that in constructions like train stations, there are also accidents and people dying. We had lots of Chinese working also in the construction of the railroads in the 1850s. There were a lot of casualties that happened during those constructions, and nobody really cared on the well-being of those Chinese, of those immigrants. We also had Chileans coming to work on the construction of the first railroads and the installation of the trains. So places like that one were tragic sites. Now we're going to talk about the more mysteries and about the mythical suicide of La Gringa. In Latin America, we refer to gringo or gringa to someone that is fair, blonde. So this lady who is reported, she suicided in the Hotel Bolivar. Seems that this is more like a legend and not really a fact, that there was a suicide of a woman that happened in the hotel, right, in the room 666, because there is a room 666 in the hotel, and she jumped off the window. So this the story says that she was an American tourist, right? And this is the only image I was able to find of the door 666. There is really not much information. The hotel doesn't want really to exploit more the stories of legends of the spirits, because probably they don't want to drag the wrong type of customers to their hotel. But to be honest, like, it's pointless, because most of the people who spend a night there are looking for sneaking out the room at 3 a.m. in the morning and go to the 6th floor and 5th floor to be able to record some paranormal activities. And I'm going to show you this in a moment also. There is also another famous spirit, because the first one, the Gringa spirit, well, she's been reported to appear in every corner of the hotel. Many visitors to the hotel that had no idea that there were spirits in the hotel, they reported seeing that woman, seeing a blonde woman like walking behind them, like seeing her through windows or through mirrors, right? But there's another spirit that is very famous there. It's the spirit of an employee that worked for many years in the hotel, and that is there, right? And this employee worked back in the 40s, right? So, but he's been seen repeatedly by the workers of the hotel. He's so popular that everybody knows him already, right? So we're going to talk about famosos en el Hotel Bolivar, famous people, famous ghosts, maybe famous spirits that visit not just the hotel once in a while, especially the bar of the hotel, which is very popular. So who knows the name of this band? They came to Peru a couple of times. Most of the times they came sort of like incognito. They are very into ayahuasca and these kind of things. So they came to Peru to go to the jungle. The Rolling Stones, exactly. And we know of a famous episode of the Rolling Stones in the Hotel Bolivar. The hotel was so elegant that, well, they had a code of behavior. And back in the 70s when they came, the hotel was still considered very, very, important. It is nowadays considered a 4-star hotel. It was like a 5-star hotel. But because they misbehaved in the hotel, they were expelled. Yes, the Rolling Stones were expelled from the hotel. So here we have the proofs of that. This is the moment when they are being asked to take their things out of the hotel because they were not behaving. And one of the things, it was related also with, the looks, the appearance of them. They were also accused of, doing drugs in the rooms. Well, many things, that, wow, what a surprise. And they were expelled, amigos. So this hotel can say they expelled the Rolling Stones. Also, we have other important, figures. The lady there is one of the most famous Mexican stars, Maria Felix, and Orson Welles, also the movie director. The story says, the legend says that he drank 42 glasses of pisco sour in just one night in the famous bar of the Bolivar Hotel. So we have also another famous man for Latin American people, a great star, movie star, Mario Moreno Cantinflas, right? Another Latin American famous singer in this occasion, and also actor, Pedro Infante. The beautiful Ava Gardner, she was in this hotel as well. Carlos Santana also, he was not really well received by the elegant society of the days when he came to Peru for the first time. But Santana also came to this hotel. Clark Gable, also, he was here. Walter Disney. In this section, you can see him. So, well, among many other men, women who visited this hotel. Thank you so much to my Patreons here. You see my dear friends who are being part of this project. Muchas gracias. You can support on Patreon. You're going to be able to see a full library of events to replay. So you have no limits to see all of my events there on Patreon. Or you can help me with a donation on PayPal, and you're going to be given in return a link to the recording of this event, the full event. You're going to be able to see a recording as many times as you wish. So thank you so much for your love, for your support. It means a lot to me having you in my home every week with one more team. I'm doing these events one per week because I want them to be very well prepared with lots of information that you can also contrast with other sources that can be of your a good use for you, not just for entertainment, also for educational purposes. Have a lovely day and see you soon, amigos. Hasta pronto. Bye bye.